The night sky over the desert world of Theros was burning with fire. 2 moons hung above, one glowing red and the other pale gold, watching silently as chaos unfolded below. Ships screamed across the heavens, streaks of light flashing as alien. Weapons clashed in the air. Dust rose from the mountains and the land trembled with explosions. In the middle of this war, a lone human soldier named Daniel crouched inside the ruins of an old temple. His chest was heaving, his armor cracked, and his pulse beat faster than the war drums echoing in the distance. He had come here with a squad, but now he was alone. Everyone else was gone. He pressed his back against the cold stone wall, trying to steady his breath. The radio on his wrist was silent. No voices, no commands, just static. It felt like the entire human fleet had vanished, leaving him stranded on this alien battlefield. Then he heard it. Low, heavy footsteps crunching against the broken ground. Not human. Too heavy. Too steady. Daniel tightened his grip on his rifle, every muscle in his body frozen with fear. Out of the smoke stepped a figure that made his blood turn cold. She was tall, her shadow stretching long under the double moons. Her skin was bronze, marked with glowing alien tattoos that pulsed faintly like veins of fire. Her hair was black as midnight, whipping in the wind, and her golden eyes locked on him with an intensity that pierced straight through. 2 sharp, feline ears twitched atop her head, and behind her swayed a long, furred tail. She wore armor that looked grown from bone and steel, plates curved over her shoulders and chest. In the center of her armor burned a strange heart-shaped gem that pulsed with light, like it was alive. Daniel froze. She was beautiful, terrifying, and otherworldly. The alien beast woman tilted her head, studying him the way a predator studies prey. Then she spoke, her voice low, almost a growl. "You..." "Human." The sound of her words made his skin prickle. She didn't speak like the others he had heard through the translator devices. Her voice was raw, unfiltered, full of something ancient. Daniel raised his weapon, but his hands shook. He had fought aliens before, but this one was different. Something about her made the air feel heavy, as if the world itself bent around her presence. The beast woman stepped closer, slow, deliberate, her glowing eyes never leaving his. "You are late," she said. Daniel blinked in confusion. "Late? What do you mean?" Her lips curved into something between a smirk and a snarl. "The war was only the beginning. Midnight comes, and you cannot escape it." His heart thudded painfully in his chest. Midnight. What did she mean? Before he could ask, the ground shook violently. An explosion lit up the night behind her and shards of fire rained down. Daniel shielded his face, but she didn't even flinch. She simply stood there, framed by the blaze, her tail curling like a whip. Something inside him screamed to run. Yet another voice whispered, "Stay." The alien beast woman closed the distance, in a heartbeat. One moment she was several steps away, and the next she was right in front of him. He stumbled back, pressing against the wall. Her hand shot out, claws grazing his armor but not breaking it. She leaned close, her breath warm against his ear. "At midnight," she whispered, "you turn into mine." Daniel's blood went cold. He shoved at her arm, but she was impossibly strong. Her claws tightened just enough to remind him she could end him instantly if she wished. But she didn't. She held him there, eyes glowing, like she was waiting for something. "What do you want from me?" he demanded, voice cracking. Her tail flicked sharply. "Not want, need. The bond is written. The moons will see it through." A chill spread down Daniel's spine. The bond? He didn't know what she was talking about, but every instinct screamed that she wasn't lying. Outside, the war raged louder, alien ships tearing the skies apart. But inside that ruined temple, under the burning light of the twin moons, there was only silence between them. Silence and her glowing golden eyes, fixed on him like he was no longer an enemy, like he was something else. The clock on his wrist beeped faintly. 11:45, 15 minutes to midnight. Daniel's breath caught in his throat as the beast woman's claws withdrew, not in mercy, but in certainty. She stepped back, her eyes never leaving his. "You cannot run from destiny, human," she said, voice soft but sharp as a blade. "When the moons align, you will belong to me." Daniel's hands trembled as he lowered his rifle. The world was collapsing into chaos outside. But the real war, he realized, had just begun. Inside these walls, inside his fate. The beast woman turned slightly, her silhouette glowing under the moons. Her tail lashed once, then stilled. "Midnight decides everything," she whispered. And for the first time since the war began, Daniel felt a fear deeper than death itself. I could not breathe. The sound of explosions outside was fading, but inside that ruined temple the air grew heavy. The alien woman's golden eyes locked on me, and I felt like I was no longer just a soldier. I was something else. Something caught in her trap. The clock on my wrist kept ticking. 11:47. Only 13 minutes until midnight. I told myself to run. I told myself to hide. But my legs did not move. My hands did not obey. It was like the gravity around her was stronger than the moons above. She stepped closer, her black hair wild in the desert wind, her tail curling like a serpent. Her armor glowed faintly with the red jewel at her chest. Every beat of that jewel matched the beat of my own heart. It terrified me. "You feel it," she whispered. Her voice was low, steady, and strange. It was not a threat. It was not even anger. It was truth. "I don't understand," I said. My voice shook like a child's. Her eyes softened, but only a little. "Your blood knows. Your body knows. The moons are rising together. You cannot fight it." The words cut through me. What did she mean my blood knew? What bond could exist between a human soldier and an alien beast woman? 15, I took a step back, but she moved with me. My back hit the stone wall. She placed her clawed hand on the wall beside my head. She leaned in close enough that I could see every tiny detail in her glowing tattoos. They were alive, shifting slowly across her bronze skin like rivers of light. Her breath brushed against my cheek. "At midnight," she said, "you are mine." Panic clawed inside me. I lifted my rifle, pressing it against her chest. The tip of the barrel touched the red jewel. My finger curled around the trigger. She did not even blink. "Shoot if you want," she whispered. "It will not stop the bond. The moons do not ask. They take." My finger shook. I wanted to fire. I wanted to prove her wrong. But the longer I stared into her golden eyes, the weaker my will became. It was like she was inside my mind, deeper than fear, deeper than thought. 55, 5 minutes. The temple trembled as another blast shook the desert. Rocks fell from the ceiling, dust raining down on us. But she did not move. She only stared at me, her jewel pulsing brighter now, beating faster. I felt heat spread in my chest. At first I thought it was fear, but then I realized it was not fear at all. It was something else, something I could not name. My knees weakened. My breath came, faster. I felt like my heart was no longer mine. Her tail brushed against my leg. I jerked, but she did not let me escape. Her claws tightened on the wall. 58, 2 minutes left. "Why me?" I whispered. My voice was broken, almost pleading. Her golden eyes burned brighter. "Because the stars chose you. Because the war chose you. Because I chose you." For the first time, her voice cracked, only for a second, but I heard it. And it scared me even more than her strength. 1:59. The jewel on her chest blazed like fire. My wrist clock glowed. The moons outside began to align, their light pouring into the broken temple. The ground shook, the walls shivered, the air burned, and then the clock hit midnight. The sound was like thunder inside my skull. My chest exploded with heat. I dropped my rifle, clutching at my heart. Pain ripped through me, fire racing in my veins. I fell to my knees, gasping for air. The alien woman knelt with me, her claws on my shoulders. "Breathe," she commanded. "I can't," I choked. My body felt like it was tearing apart. My vision blurred. My skin burned. She pulled me against her, pressing me to her chest. The jewel on her armor flared, and I felt its heat pour into me. Our hearts beat together, one rhythm, one pulse, and then the pain turned into something else. It was not fire anymore. It was connection. I felt her thoughts in my mind, her memories, her scars, her loneliness, her rage, all of it flooding into me like a river breaking its banks. And I knew she felt mine, my fear, my doubt, my grief for the friends I lost. She held me tighter. "You are mine now," she whispered, but her voice was softer, almost fragile. "And I am yours." I gasped, fighting to breathe, fighting to believe. But deep inside, I knew she was right. Something had changed. Something was binding me to her, stronger than chains, stronger than death. The war outside roared louder, ships screaming through the sky. But inside that ruined temple, I was no longer just a soldier. I was hers. And she would never let me go. When I opened my eyes, the world looked different. The ruined temple was the same, the desert sky was the same, but my senses were sharper. I could hear the crack of stones outside. I could smell the smoke drifting from the battlefield, and I could even feel the heat of her body close to mine. The beast woman was still holding me. Her golden eyes were locked on me as if she feared I might disappear. Her claws rested gently on my shoulders, no longer a threat, but a claim. I pushed back, gasping for air. "What did you do to me?" She tilted her head, her dark hair falling across her glowing tattoos. "Not me," she said softly. "The moons. The bond. It is older than both of us." I looked down at my chest. My armor was cracked, and through the gap I saw something glowing beneath my skin. A faint golden mark, shaped like the same jewel she wore. It pulsed in rhythm with my heart. I stumbled back, horrified. "No, this can't be real." She stood, slowly, rising above me with the grace of a predator. "It is real. You carry the mark now. You are mine." Her words echoed in my head, but it wasn't just sound. I could feel them inside me, like her voice was carved into my bones. And worse, I could feel her thoughts, not clear words but emotions, a storm of them, hunger, anger, pain, loneliness, and somewhere, deep under it all, something softer, something she was trying to hide. I shook my head. "I'm not your whatever this is. I'm human. I don't belong to you." Her tail lashed, the air, sharp and angry, but her voice stayed calm. "You belong where the moons place you. Deny it if you wish. It will not break." I turned toward the temple doors, but the world outside burned with fire. Ships screamed in the sky, and the desert glowed with falling plasma. I had nowhere to run. She stepped beside me, her claws brushing against mine as if reminding me she was still there. "Your people are gone," she said. "Mine hunt me as well. You have no side now except me." Her words cut deep. I wanted to fight them, but they rang true. My squad was dead. My fleet was silent. And if her people hunted her, then we were both trapped in the same war, marked as outcasts. The mark on my chest pulsed harder. I clutched it, gritting my teeth. "Why me? Out of everyone, why me?" Her golden eyes narrowed. She looked away for the first time, unsure. "Because the moons never choose wrong," she said. Silence fell between us. Only the thunder of war outside filled the air. I should have felt hate for her, fear, rage, but instead I felt something else, something I didn't want to admit. The bond twisted inside me, pulling at my thoughts, dragging me toward her, and then I heard it, shouts outside. Alien voices, sharp and cruel, growing closer. Shadows moved beyond the broken walls. Soldiers. Not human. Her kind. She stiffened, her ears twitching. They found us. I raised my rifle, but my hands shook. The bond burned in my chest like fire. I could feel her heart racing through it, her fear mixing with mine. The doors burst open and 3 alien warriors stormed inside. Their armor gleamed silver, their weapons crackling with blue light. Their eyes landed on her, then on me, and Their voices filled the room with rage. "Traitor," one of them spat in their language. The beast woman stepped in front of me, claws bared, tail lashing the air. "He is mine!" she roared. Her voice shook the temple. It was not just sound, it was power. The aliens froze for half a second, shocked. But then their fury returned, and they charged. She met them head on. I had never seen anyone move like her. She leapt forward, claws tearing through metal like paper. Sparks flew, blood sprayed, and the ground shook as she slammed one warrior into the wall. Another swung his blade, but her tail wrapped around his arm, snapping it with a sickening crack. The third warrior turned his weapon on me. I lifted my rifle, but my hands were too slow. The blast shot toward me, and she was there before it hit. Her body shielded mine. The energy struck her armor, sending her crashing into me. We fell to the ground together, dust rising. I gasped, reaching for her. "You're hurt." She grabbed my wrist, her claws trembling. Her golden eyes burned into mine. "You see now," she whispered. "I will not let you go, not even if it kills me." Her words froze me, because I felt them, not just in my ears, but inside the bond. Her pain was my pain. Her rage was my rage. Her vow was now mine too. The last enemy warrior charged again, but this time my hands were steady. I lifted my rifle, aimed, and fired. The blast hit him square in the chest. He fell, his armor smoking. Silence. The temple was littered with broken bodies. She rose slowly, blood on her armor, her chest jewel still glowing. Her eyes met mine, softer now. "You are marked," she said again, but her voice cracked. "And I am bound." I stared at her, breathing hard. My chest still glowed with the mark of the moons. I wanted to deny her words, but deep inside I knew the truth. She had refused to let me go, and a part of me, the part tied to her now, no longer wanted her to. The night air was sharp and dry when we left the ruined temple. Smoke from the battle drifted into the desert, glowing under the twin moons. My chest still burned with the strange mark, its golden light hidden beneath my torn armor. She walked in front of me, her tail swaying behind, her body tense. Even wounded, she moved like a predator, silent and watchful. Her golden eyes scanned the shadows, searching for danger. I followed, my rifle heavy in my hands. My heart was heavier. "Where are we going?" I asked. My voice cracked against the silence. "Far from here," she said. Her tone was cold, but I felt her emotions inside me through the bond, fear, anger, and something deeper she tried to hide. I tried not to look at the glowing jewel in her chest armor. It pulsed with the same rhythm as my mark, like we shared one heartbeat. Every time I looked at it, I felt my own pulse speed up. We moved across the sand, climbing rocky ridges. The wind howled through the desert canyons, carrying with it distant voices. Alien soldiers. They were hunting us. I gritted my teeth. "They're after you." "Why?" Her ears twitched. She didn't look back. "Because I refused them. Because I chose my own path. And now you chose me," I said bitterly. She stopped. For the first time, she turned and faced me fully. Her golden eyes glowed against the shadows. "I did not choose this, human. The moons did." I wanted to shout, to tell her I was no one's mate, no one's destiny. But the words stuck in my throat. Because deep inside I could feel her heart beating with mine. The bond was real, whether I wanted it or not. We pressed on, climbing higher into the rocks. The desert stretched endless under the moons. My body ached, my throat burned, but she moved without slowing. She was strong, tireless. And yet, through the bond, I felt her pain too. She hid it well, but the blast she had taken in the temple still hurt her. Finally, we reached a ridge. Below us, the desert glowed with fire. Dozens of alien soldiers marched, their armor shining in the moonlight. Searchlights swept across the sand. My stomach turned. "We're surrounded," her tail lashed the air. "They will not stop." "Then what do we do?" She crouched low, her claws scraping the rock. "We run," And we fight if we must. I swallowed hard, my chest burning with fear, but the bond twisted inside me again. I felt her resolve, sharp and unshakable, bleeding into my own thoughts. Her courage filled the empty places in me. I nodded. Then we run. We slipped down the ridge, keeping to the shadows. The sand was cold beneath my boots, the night air biting at my skin. My breath came fast, but I kept moving. She led us through narrow paths, her movements sure, her senses sharp. But no matter how fast we moved, the soldiers closed in. The sound of their voices grew louder. The light swept closer. She stopped suddenly, her ears flicking. They are near. I raised my rifle, my hands steady now. Then let them come. She looked at me, her golden eyes burning. For a moment, I thought I saw something like pride in them. Then she nodded. Stay close. The first soldier appeared from the shadows, weapon raised. I fired before he could react. The blast hit him and he fell into the sand. More followed, shouting in their alien tongue. She roared, a sound that shook the rocks. She leapt into them, claws flashing. Blood sprayed, armor shattered, and the air filled with fire and dust. I fought beside her. For the first time, it didn't feel strange. My rifle and her claws worked as one. I covered her, and she shielded me. Every move, every strike, the bond guided us. It was like we were not two fighters, but one. The last soldier fell, silence rushing in behind the storm. My chest heaved, sweat dripping into my eyes. She stood over the bodies, her armor stained with blood, her breath heavy. I lowered my rifle. We can't keep this up forever. She turned to me, her tail curling. Her voice was soft now. No, but we will live. Together. Her words shook me more than the battle. I wanted to deny her, to tell her this bond was wrong. But deep inside, the truth burned with every beat of my heart. We were hunted. We were outnumbered. And yet, I was no longer alone. I looked at her glowing eyes, at the jewel pulsing with my own heartbeat. And I knew one thing. She would never let me go. The desert felt endless. Sand stretched in every direction, glowing under the moons. My legs ached, my throat was dry, and every step felt heavier than the last. But she never stopped. She walked ahead of me, her tail swaying like a banner, her golden eyes burning with focus. Finally, she slowed. Ahead of us, half hidden by rock, was a dark opening. A cave. She motioned with her hand. Here. We slipped inside, the air cooler, the sound of the wind fading behind us. The cave walls glowed faintly with strange crystals. Their light shimmered across her bronze skin, dancing over her tattoos. I sank to the ground, leaning against the stone. My body shook with exhaustion. I looked at her, standing tall, her armor cracked but her eyes unbroken. You don't stop, I whispered. Her ears twitched. She glanced at me. I cannot. If I stop, they will catch us. And I will not let them take you. Her words hit me harder than any blast. She would die before letting me go. I lowered my eyes to my chest. The golden mark glowed faintly under my skin. Every pulse of light matched the jewel on her armor. Our hearts beat as one, even in silence. I hated it, and yet I needed it. The bond made me feel her pain. I could sense the wound she carried from the temple. She tried to hide it, but I knew it throbbed with every step. You're hurt, I said. Her tail flicked. It is nothing. I shook my head. It's not nothing. I can feel it. For a moment, her golden eyes softened. She walked closer, kneeling beside me. Her claws brushed my shoulder lightly. The bond is strong. Too strong. Then break it, I said quickly. My voice cracked with desperation. Find a way. I never asked for this. She stared at me, her face unreadable. If I could break it, I would not. Because I would lose you. Her words silenced me. I looked away, heart pounding. I wanted to deny her, to say I didn't belong to her. But deep inside, I could not ignore the truth. I felt her loneliness. It poured through the bond, heavy and raw. She had walked through war, through betrayal, through exile, and now for the first time she wasn't alone. I was her anchor, and she was mine. The silence stretched. I could not look at her. Then she spoke again, her voice softer than I had ever heard it. "Do you feel it?" she asked. I swallowed. Feel what? Her golden eyes locked on mine. Me. I closed my eyes, but it didn't help. I could still feel her inside me. Her heartbeat, her breath, her fear, her longing. It was overwhelming. "Yes," I whispered. "I feel you." Her hand lingered on my chest right above the glowing mark. For the first time I saw something break in her eyes. A wall falling. "You are mine," she whispered again. But this time it wasn't a command. It was a plea. I wanted to tell her, no. I wanted to tell her this bond was wrong. But the words never came. Instead, I reached up and touched her wrist. The bond flared like fire. Her breath caught. My chest tightened. For a moment there was no cave, no war, no desert. Only her eyes, her heart, her soul bleeding into mine. And I realized something terrifying. I didn't want to let go. The sound of voices outside broke the moment. Alien soldiers. They were searching the caves. The glow of torches flickered at the entrance. She snapped back, her tail lashing. Her claws extended, her eyes fierce again. "They are here." I lifted my rifle, my hand steady now. I felt her, resolve in my veins, my courage burning with hers. The soldiers' shadows grew larger. Their footsteps echoed into the cave. She leaned close, her breath hot against my ear. "Stay with me, no matter what happens. Stay." I nodded, my chest burning with the bond. "I will." The first soldier stepped into the cave. His weapon gleamed, his eyes locked on us, and together, side by side, we prepared to fight again. The cave was silent for one breath. Then the sound of boots echoed inside. The glow of alien torches painted the walls red and gold. Shadows stretched toward us. My chest burned with the mark, its golden light pulsing harder than ever. She stood, in front of me, claws ready, tail swaying like a blade in the dark. Her golden eyes glowed brighter than the crystals on the wall. "They will not stop," she whispered. I tightened my grip on my rifle. "Then neither will we." The first soldier entered, shouting in their tongue. More followed, their armor clanking, weapons glowing blue. The cave filled with their voices, the sound of war coming closer. She roared. The sound shook the stone, a cry of fury and defiance. She leapt into them, claws flashing, tail whipping through the air. I followed, firing my rifle, each shot lighting. The darkness. The bond guided me. I didn't have to think. I knew where she would strike, and she knew where I would fire. We moved as one. But there were too many. For every soldier that fell, two more took his place. The cave shook with the clash of steel and fire. My heart pounded, my chest burned hotter, and I felt her strength inside me. Through the bond, I felt her pain as claws sliced her shoulder. I felt her rage as she struck back, tearing through armor. Her emotions poured into me and mine poured into her. We were not two bodies. We were one. "Stay with me," she cried. "I'm not leaving you," I shouted back. We fought until the cave floor was covered in smoke and blood. My rifle hissed hot in my hands. Her claws dripped red. But the soldiers kept coming, pressing us deeper into the cave. I stumbled, falling against the wall. A soldier raised his weapon, aiming at my chest. But before he could fire, she threw herself between us. The blast struck her armor, sending her crashing into me. I caught her, my chest burning with her pain. "No." Her golden eyes flickered, weak but fierce. "Do not fear. I am still here." I pressed my hand against her jewel, feeling its pulse slow. My own mark blazed brighter, forcing my strength into her. The bond roared, pulling us tighter than ever. She gasped, her breath ragged. "Why? Do you give so much?" "Because you never let me go," I whispered, And now I'll never let you go either. Her eyes widened. For the first time, tears glimmered there. Alien, strange, but real. The bond flared. Heat tore through us both. My body shook, my vision blurred, and the mark on my chest exploded. With light. The jewel on her armor burned like a star. The soldiers froze, shielding their eyes. The light filled the cave, brighter than fire, brighter than war. When the glow faded, I was still standing. She stood beside me, her wounds closed, her strength returned. Our hands were locked together, our hearts beating as one. The soldiers stared, fear in their eyes. They whispered in their language, stepping back. She raised her claws, her voice thundering through the cave. He is mine, and I am his. Touch him, and you face the bond of the moons. The soldiers hesitated. Some dropped their weapons, others fled into the desert. Silence returned, broken only by our breaths. I lowered my rifle slowly. She turned to me, her golden eyes softer than ever. You accepted it, she whispered. I nodded, my chest still glowing. I did. I'm yours now, and you're mine. Her claws trembled as she touched my face. For the first time, her lips curved, not into a snarl, but into something close to a smile. Outside, the war still burned. Ships roared across the skies, and the desert shook with fire. But inside that cave, in that moment, the war didn't matter. We had survived. Together. The moons shone through the cave opening, bathing us in their light. I felt her warmth, her strength, her soul bound to mine. And I knew one truth that would never change. At midnight, I became hers, and she refused to let me go.